I'm so grateful that you were on with me here on this LinkedIn Live. I'm so glad that you're investing in yourself, in your business, in a healthy mindset, and in your leadership today. My goal is to add value to you and for you to be glad you invested your time here. Let me ask you, do you struggle with finding balance in the midst of the everyday fires of work, home, and life? I hear so many business owners wonder out loud, margin? What margin? I don't have any margin. In my work with entrepreneurs, with founders, and with business leaders, this is a struggle that nearly everyone vocalizes at some point. Is there truly a way to find margin in the midst of the fire? Here's what I have to tell you today. Yes, there is. You can do this. Today, I want to share some strategies with you to help you find and maintain margin in the midst of the fires of life. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. William Attaway. I'm an executive coach and I specialize in mindset, leadership, and productivity. I help high performing entrepreneurs, agency, and business owners and their teams to conquer challenging situations and to maximize their potential and their capacity with clear minded focus, with calm control, and with confidence. Mindset is 90% of why people are successful or not. If you are struggling with an unhealthy mindset, if you are overwhelmed by the chaos and the fires all around you, if you struggle with focus, if you're fighting self doubt, self sabotage, and imposter syndrome, I can help you. I've been a student of leadership, a practitioner, and a coach of high performing leaders for nearly 30 years. If you want to intentionally grow your leadership and your mindset, you can book a call with me at catalyticleadership.net. So let's get started today. Let me tell you this. Let's start here. Margin is not just going to magically appear in your life. You're not going to wake up one day and margin has magically appeared out of nowhere on your calendar with you in your life or with your team. You have to be intentional. You have to choose to have margin. Now, this is true in every area of your life. It's true relationally, it's true financially, it's true emotionally, and it's true professionally. But what I want you to understand is this: margin is available for you. Now, I realize some of you may be thinking, yeah, but you don't know my life. You don't know what all I've got to deal with. You don't understand how hard I work and how many different balls I'm trying to juggle in the air. I do understand that. And I believe there are strategies that can help you. And that's what I want to share with you today. I want to talk with you about how I have developed margin personally and how I've coached my clients to do this. I want you to take those strategies and I want you to apply them. I want you to use them to begin to build margin for you, for your business, for your team, for your organization. These are strategies that I believe can make a really big difference if you know what they are, and if you take action, if you begin to implement them intentionally. And by the way, if you're watching this on the replay, I'd love it if you'd type replay in the comments so I know you were here. I enjoy connecting with all of you who attend these LinkedIn Live events. The choice to have margin begins with asking yourself this question: do I believe that I can have margin? Do I believe that I should have margin? That seems kind of self-explanatory, doesn't it? Of course, absolutely. And yet, there are times when we say something is important, but our actions disagree. Sometimes those actions are rooted in our mindset, in our beliefs. We don't believe we should have margin yet. We haven't earned it. We don't deserve it yet. One day we'll have earned it. One day we will deserve it. And one day we will have margin. I titled this LinkedIn Live, Finding Margin in the Midst of the Fire. And I think that's how a lot of people feel as they are living their day to day, like they're in the fire, like there are constant fires popping up all around them that they have to put out and deal with every day. Fires can reduce or eliminate margin. So how do you and I choose margin when the fires seem endless and ever present? Here's what I know. The mindset that you choose will determine the actions that you take. You are in full control of choosing your mindset. and so am I. It's a choice. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a victim of your past mistakes. You're not a victim of your life so far. It is not decided for you. You can choose, and so can I. Some people draw their self-esteem and their value from being busy. How you doing? Oh, so busy. How are you doing? Oh, I've never been busier. It's like busy is a badge of honor. Is it though? Is that really the goal? Here's what I want you to understand. Margin is a choice, and it is a choice that you can make, just like I have. It begins with determining that you want margin and that you can and should have it, that you deserve it. So let me ask you, do you believe that? Do you believe that you can and should have margin in your life and in your business? I want you to put your answer in the chat. Do you believe that you can and should have margin? I believe that, and I want that for you. Once you make the decision, the next step is to take action. Now, you've heard me talk before in these events, if you've attended them, about the catalytic review process that I have each week. Simply put, it's this way. I think back over the last 7 days, and I look back and I ask myself several questions. The first one is this: what went right? What can I celebrate from the last 7 days? And I'm going to capture those wins, I call them, those wins, in a wins journal, a place where I'm going to capture what went right, what I can celebrate. Over time, that wins journal becomes a knowledge base. Over time, that wins journal becomes something that I can refer back to on those moments when I get discouraged. And I wonder, hey, is this whole thing actually going to work? Am I doing any good? I can go back to the wins journal and I can remember. What went right this week? Stop and celebrate. That's the first part of the catalytic review. Second part, what went wrong? What did not go the way I expected? What, if I had a chance, would I love to go back and undo or redo? What went wrong? And the last question, how would I do it differently next time? The next time I'm in a similar situation, how would I do this differently? What would I do different next time? Process the learning. This is what I do going back 7 days. Then in my catalytic review, I'm going to look forward 7 days. And I'm going to look at what's ahead of me. I'm going to look at the appointments on my calendar. I'm going to look at the events ahead of me this week. And I'm going to ask, how can I prepare to bring the best version of me to those appointments, to those meetings, to those calls? What do I need to prepare to bring the best version of myself into those environments? What do I need to think about or decide ahead of time? By pre-thinking about and pre-deciding what I can in the calm of a catalytic review time, what does this do? This prepares me to handle those fires that are a part of life, those fires that are a part of all of our hectic weeks. A guest on my podcast, David Allen, talked about this. He said that the goal actually comes from a martial arts concept called a mind like water. This idea that you see a lake in the mountains and it's perfectly calm and there's not a ripple on the lake. If you take a rock and you throw it into the water, that water will ripple. But the ripples will be exactly proportionate to the size of the rock and the velocity of your throw. That water is not going to overreact and it's not going to underreact to that disturbance. And then what happens? The water resettles and returns to that calm state. This is what I call calm control. This is the goal for each one of us. This is how we're able to handle the fires and still have margin. But the only way I know to do that is to pre-decide or predetermine as much as possible during my catalytic review each week. That way I'm not wasting time thinking, what should I do? What do I need to do? How do I need to, did I prepare? No, I've pre-decided and predetermined as much as I can. It's also important to understand that during this weekly review process, you're seeking calm control throughout the week. You're going to have those rocks that get thrown into your water, or to use our terminology today, you're going to have the fires. The brush fires are going to pop up. You can't control everything everybody else does, can you? I can't either. They're going to happen. But by starting your week, pre-deciding, predetermining as much as possible, You are setting the stage and setting a normal of that calm water, that calm control. If you start there, it's a whole lot easier to maintain it, even after the ripples from the rocks or the smoke from the fire will begin to fade out. I want that for you. I want you to have that calm control. This is one thing that I work with my clients on. So let me ask you, do you have a catalytic review that you do every week where you look back and then you look forward, where you're pre-deciding and predetermining what your priorities are going to be for the week? What is going to make this week a big win for you, right? You can pre-decide and predetermine where you're going to invest your most valuable resource, your time. Pre-decide that. Choose what your priorities are going to be. This will enable you to live in a place of calm control. This is what I want. Do you have that catalytic review that you do every week? Put your answer over in the chat. Let me know. I know what I teach my clients, that creativity lives in the margin. So often I hear leaders say, I'm not very creative. I'm not super creative. I believe that when we struggle with creativity, it is not because we are not creative. It's because we aren't providing the margin for creativity to grow and thrive. Creativity lives in the margin. And for you to be as creative as possible in whatever it is that you're leading, whatever it is that you're doing, for you to bring the creativity that is inside of you out, you have to create margin. Too often, we eliminate margin because we're trying to do too much. We're unwilling to delegate, or we're not efficient in our productivity system. And these are all things that can be changed when you choose to do so. Remember, whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. Margin's a choice. Through my catalytic review each week, I pre-decide and predetermine my priorities, where I will spend my time, and what I want to get accomplished this week. And you can do the same thing. This is what I want for each one of you. Think about something that we've talked about before. 5 years from now, what are you going to be so glad that you started doing today? Think about that. What do you want to be true of your life 5 years from now? Most of us have a mental picture of that. It may not have a lot of clarity, but we have some idea. Understanding that reality, you want that to be true. What are you going to be so glad you started doing today to build into that? What are the things every day that you can do to move toward that possibility, that reality? My friend Jonathan Milligan says it so well. Consistency is the mother of momentum. If you want momentum on your team, in your business, and with your leadership bench, in every part of your life, it takes consistency. And consistency is a choice. If you want margin, it takes consistent choice. I hope what you have heard today is what I have tried to convey, that margin is a choice, that you can choose it. There are things you can do that will create margin, that will enable calm control. It's all about pre-deciding, pre-planning. It's all about determining what you want the week to look like. Pre-deciding as many things as you can so that you're not having to make those decisions in the moment. That way you're able to deal with the fires that are just a part of all of our lives and still have margin even in the midst of the fires. Now, I'd love to hear what your biggest takeaway is today, but more specifically, I'd love to hear what you're going to do next. I want you to type that over in the chat. And if you want some help implementing these strategies, you want some help developing an intentional plan for margin in your life and in your leadership, if you want to develop a real plan for you and for your business, you can go to catalyticleadership.net and you can book a call with me. Let's talk. And let's help you move from where you are, where you're stuck, to where you want to be. I'm so appreciative of your time today. Again, I believe this is the most valuable resource you have. And you've chosen to invest it in your own benefit, your own development. And to choose to spend that time with me is an honor. I do hope this has been helpful and informative for you. But remember that information without application is not effective. You have to take action. I challenge every client I coach to take action. If you want different results, you have to do something different. And knowing what to do and when to do it matters. I would challenge you to keep learning. I would challenge you to keep growing, to be relentlessly intentional about clear-minded focus. If you don't have a coach, find one. Choose a coach who is for you, who will help you achieve the goals that you have for 2024, 2025, and beyond. Remember, nothing changes until you change it. And whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. Let's choose margin, my friends. And let's see the creativity that will bloom as we create space for it. I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great rest of your week.